My 29 male, Indian MOM, 50 female, fell in love with someone other than my dad and I consider her dead to me. Apparently, I traveled to Ireland for studies in 2015, and my mother fell in love with someone else in 2016, which neither my mother nor father told me about. Mom is 50 years old and dad is 56 years old. I'm 29M, so I found out about it when my mother eventually admitted to wanting a divorce. They remained apart till 2019. Well, I realized this would be difficult for my father, so I returned to India, which was simple since I was an IT professional, and invited my father to join me. He too has heart issues. Being their only son, I had a lot of control. I witnessed my mother getting what she wanted and my father being wrecked and heartbroken, so I opted to remain with him and go on. My mother then attempted to take me away from my father because she said he was never that. I lived with him for nearly 20 years, and one thing he wasn't was she even made an allegation about forced marriage. After much cross-questioning and having the scenarios refuted, she closed with vocal that were only arguments, and forced marriage was nothing more than a planned marriage, to which my mother had given her full permission. Later, she claimed his property, which irritated me since I warned her that as she claimed the property, I would never speak to her again, and she would be dead for me. But she went ahead and did it. She didn't win our home, but she did obtain a large quantity of money. In addition, she had lost her son. Problems began to arise, and my mother would pursue me, come to our home, and scream outside. Her brother attempted to attack my father, and I punhead him. We went to the police station, reached a compromise without a court case, and agreed to speak to my mother on a regular basis at the police station. Later, she moved, and I didn't contact her. After all of this, my wedding is in February, and neither my mother nor anybody from her family is invited. She still calls on various phones and writes handwritten notes, and I'm beginning to wonder whether I was too harsh on her. I miss her, but I can't forgive her for what she did to my father. Therapy is being provided for both my father and myself, and years later, I am at peace. My father is still depressed, but my fiancé has helped a lot, and he now smiles at least, and even his 4 older sisters have helped a lot. I want to forgive her, but my father was attacked by her brother, called and left alone, guilted into not telling me, attempted to be separated by his only son, lost 10+ kgs, became sad, and I don't know why I love my father more than my mother. I'm never going to forgive her. So, what do the members of this sub think? Did I go too far, or what? Any feedback is welcomed. Story 2. My girlfriend shared something really intimate about me to my best friends that I introduced her to. So here's the situation. I'm a 24-year-old man, and I introduced my 25-year-old girlfriend of almost a year to my group of closest friends since she didn't have a large social network. She has friends, but not a circle. She'd been moaning about me to one of the people I'd introduced her to. It turns out, I understand that individuals need to vent from time to time, and that is perfectly normal. She, too, needs an outlet. I'm pleased she has my pals to rant to. I don't want her to be lonely, so I've been doing all I can to include her in my social circle. But she complained about something very personal to me. Some context, I haven't been in a good mental place for the past 2-3 weeks, and I've had too much work on my plate. I haven't felt sexually aroused in a long time. I know it's not ED since I've been having morning erections, so maybe it's simply a lack of hormones. Dunno. On top of that, I suffer from severe health and performance anxiety, and even little events might cause me to doubt my own health. I once had a panic attack because I could feel a pulse on the top of my head and thought I had brain cancer. My crippling anxiety just adds to my aversion to sex, and even I've informed my girlfriend about it, that I haven't been feeling great in the sex area, and that I'll have it examined with a urologist in a few days, although I'm sure it's not medical, but it doesn't hurt to get it tested, and let your physician tell you everything's good to ease your worries. I've also been working on it, attempting to meditate, get out of my chair, and stay active in order to get the circulation circulating. I've been experimenting with NoFap as well. I've been here for about a week. I can feel some of my senses returning to normal, but I don't want to rush in. It's just been 3 weeks, after all. We are not in a sexless relationship. We've had some incredible sex before that. I only avoided sex after I had to push myself to get erect, since I wasn't feeling it at all, a couple of times to please her. It had just recently begun to pain me, and I didn't want to harm my penis. As a result, I decided to take a sabbatical. However, my girlfriend continues to complain about my lack of sexual excitement and that I believe something is wrong with my balls. Despite the fact that nothing is, she still doesn't understand my worry to a friend whom I introduced her to. She believes I'm not interested in her, which I'm doing on purpose. As someone who suffers from performance anxiety, I understand why someone might berate their own self-esteem. While it's not the same as anxiety, I can see why. I've done all I could to reassure her that it's not her fault. I've told her it's my fault and that I need to make some lifestyle adjustments to get my hormones back on track. I've been worried up about academics and job recently, and I haven't gotten enough sleep or exercise. I've informed her that I need to update them. The difficulty is that it hurts a lot when such personal information is shared with someone else. I expressly asked her not to divulge any private information regarding my genitals. Worse, she went on to complain to one of my best friends, whom I introduced her to. This aggravates my anxiousness even more. On top of that, the information got out, and my pals make light jokes about it now and again, but I get it. They believe it isn't serious. However, many individuals do not experience anxiety. But at this point, it simply aches. What am I supposed to do? Should I simply put up with it and attempt to move on? Or should I face my girlfriend? Or should I inform my buddies that this isn't a joke, and that this garbage genuinely concerns me? Story 3. I, 20 male, feel like my girlfriend, 19 female, should not be going to a rager with a flirty guy friend. My fiancé has lately begun chatting to this man, which makes me a little uneasy. She texts him often, which isn't necessarily a terrible thing. A woman may have her male pals, but the trouble is, he flirts with her rather frequently. She has informed him she has a boyfriend, which is fantastic because she is putting up that barrier, but should I be concerned if she continues to chat to someone who flirts with her and constantly violates that barrier? Furthermore, this guy buddy invited her to a 2-day rager on New Year's Eve, and they are staying at an Airbnb, one of them that gets dressed up in a strange manner and simply goes wild. She agreed to go after they had only hung together once. She met him for the first time around 2-3 weeks ago, and on the day she met him for the first time, she says yes to going to this New Year's festival/rager. He's flirted with her by asking if she wants to be adored, and when they first met, he asked if he could surprise her with where they were going to dinner. The issue is, she's not traveling with him alone. He'll be accompanied by a few of his roommates, I think 1 lady and 2 males, as well as some other of his buddies from another school, so they won't be alone. There will also be hard drugs according to reports, psychedelics type. In all of these situations, I truly don't trust him. Even if she is in a group, the only person she really knows is this male buddy with whom she often converses, since she tells me about it. Everyone else is a complete stranger to her. How many of the guys on here simply invite women with partners to situations like this? I brought it up to her, feeling a little awkward, stating that in a situation like that, I'm not really comfortable with her going out with a person she just met, particularly if he's flirted with her. He's like that with everyone, she said, which I don't think is a good justification, but I kept it to myself. I also mentioned how she didn't know anybody, to which she replied, "Okay, but this is a terrific chance for me to meet new people. What am I supposed to do? I feel like she's violating an unwritten rule in our relationship, and I'm a little offended. Yes, you can have male friends, but you don't usually go on these outings with them. She is so open about everything that it sometimes seems like she's telling me, so she doesn't appear to be doing anything wrong.